Assalamualaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Alhamdulillah.
Ha- How's everything with you?
Oh, I'm fine now. I got my little cut up cantaloupe and papaya and bought me a banana up and a cup of coffee because
Okay.
I never I never know how long I might be here. So I'm
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, my brother. How are you?
I'm good. I'm sorry if you were saying something. I realized I didn't have my headset on me. And
Okay.
I one, I said, well, ain't nobody on yet. Edward might not be saying nothing in, and I just dawned on me. It plugged in, but
Hey,
yeah, so forgive me for that one.
now I did greet you, but that was it. I mean, I figured you were either in another conversation or, we're getting your audio up. So,
No, like I said, I was sitting here looking at it and not dawning on me that my headset wasn't on. I said, well, he must be preoccupied with something. That's what it was.
I
All
have
right.
I have two adult sons, and I can talk and talk and talk and get no response sometimes. So I'm very
Oh,
accustomed
okay.
to saying things and not getting an immediate response.
Well, all right then. Well, I have to give my reasons for that because yeah, man.
All right.
Well,
Well,
we will probably have a short meeting. I would imagine most people are still kind of in a holiday setting or holiday mood. So we'll probably have a short meeting today. Don't have that much to cover, I don't think.
right.
But we'll see. We'll see where that goes. And it's already 11 after the hour, and it's just the three of us. So
Mhm.
we'll see if we how many more people we actually get. Because I know some folks are with family, some folks travel. I travel, but I got up this morning getting my younger son settled in LA area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, for school?
For school, yeah. He
Yeah, I got
transferred
it. Yeah.
from Maryland to Chapman University in Orange, California, Orange County.
Mm. Okay.
To,
Now, when you
I
say
mean,
you transferred from Maryland, you talking University of Maryland?
University of Maryland, yeah.
Oh, okay, so he was on this end. He was
Yeah,
on.
this is the one that I told you he lived in
Oh,
Silver Springs.
okay.
Yeah, his mom lives in Silver Springs, and yeah, he was going to University of Maryland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the party school. And they ain't never seen a party they ain't like out there.
Yeah, he's not much of a party animal. I mean, he
Okay.
has his little group of friends. He's a
Right.
fine arts major, and he has his little select group of friends,
Okay.
and their whole thing is going to movies and dissecting movies.
Okay.
Camera angles, lighting,
Mm. Okay.
all that kind of stuff.
Now, is that something he's interested in?
He's been since he was in junior high school.
Okay.
He's been doing stuff like that and doing it for the school. He went to All Saints Episcopal School,
Mm.
and he's been doing stuff with camera, behind the camera, in front of the camera from the time he was in seventh, eighth grade.
Okay.
And he's very good actor, very good singer, very good dancer,
Okay.
but he is more comfortable, enjoys himself behind the camera
Mm.
more than in front of the camera. You
Mm.
know, so yeah. So Chapman is he tried to get into we tried to get him into NYU and also tried to get him into UCLA. And Chapman was like the third choice. Good school. It's not as
Mm.
prestigious as those other two, but a good school. So we did get him into Chapman, and he's happy as he can be.
Well, the key is not the school, but the contacts you make.
True. Yeah.
That's, I mean, the school can help, but it's them contacts, man. Telling you, because my son was homeschooled. He went to university in Barcelona, but to this day, more and more I'm seeing the benefit of him having friends all over the world. And turns out one of his best friends went to, I think he went to the University of Pennsylvania, studied in business, had a class assignment, I would tell you, oh man, this had to be 3 years ago. And he won an opportunity to put his business proposal into practice, and is now, I would tell you, weeks away from opening up a store in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And the idea was brilliant. When people get food stamps, EBT cards,
Mhm.
one of the biggest concerns about though the cards is that you can buy food with it, but they will not allow you to buy prepared food.
Right.
Well, he came up with this idea where he would open up a store where he would sell the produce, the basic things that people need in a small store, because it's not that big in terms of its street floor space, but he divided it up in two, with two different entrances, and on a corner store. So you go in, you buy the fresh food, and they will cook it for you right next door. It's already prepared. So where you may pay for it, you can step right next door. They've got prepared meals for you, but it was your EBT card that paid for it. So you don't pay twice, you only pay once.
So let me ask you this question, because that's an interesting idea. And yeah, obviously the big question is, are they going to prepare anything, or did they have a set of guidelines of we'll cook your steak, we'll bake the potato, we'll do the broccoli, green beans, whatever that you bought from us, we'll cook those for you. Do you pre-order that so that when you get there to pay for everything,
it may be set up, but what you pay for
is the
is
fresh stuff?
Yes, you pay
Right.
what EBT will allow you to pay.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
that part I get, but I'm just saying if it was
And
me.
then what I believe, if I remember correctly, and I'll check with them.
That's a great idea.
I'll check, but what I believe is they may already have prepared the food.
Some meals, yeah.
Some meals.
Right.
That they're going to once you pay for let's say in this case,
a quarter of a chicken and
yes,
some
and you got some broccoli
vegetables.
and roasted
Right,
potatoes and
right,
stuff. Because
right.
the thing has been, and I kind of understand it with the EBT card, that
Yes.
if you
This is
allow them
great.
to buy if you allow them to buy prepared food, they're going straight to McDonald's and Burger King and
Right.
Yelps and
Right, right, right.
but his idea And
This
this
is
is
a
an
great
idea.
idea.
This is an idea with financial backers.
Hmm.
I mean, this is not just a grant. And they gave him enough money where he was able to get a stipend. He was able to and with the stipend, he was able to pay his rent, like on a modest place.
Hmm.
And it's a young boy. This boy is my son's age. He's 25.
Hmm.
And I haven't got all the details yet, but this is why I'm saying that that it's not the school, it's the friends and associates that you make. Now, because
Yeah.
my son was homeschooled, he met this boy, white boy, met him. He met him buying a t-shirt from him that he bought over to the house after my son had paid. In other words, he delivered it to my son because we live maybe about 5 minutes from where he was staying with his parents. So it wasn't no big deal. And he brought it over, and the two of them pretty much, I mean, other than them doing their own things, they've been best friends ever since.
Okay.
And he went to see him a couple of days ago. I think they must have gone to one of the soccer matches, the world soccer matches that they were having in Philadelphia. I want to see if they went to the one with, was it France and Paraguay?
Probably. Yeah, that was in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know it was in Philadelphia. I'm trying to think if they
But
were.
that was yesterday that
Okay,
France
but
and
then no,
Paraguay
that
played.
wasn't the game they went to.
Okay.
No, that wasn't the game they went to, because he's in Boston now. But um, but what came out of this trip, and I have not gotten all the details, is is there uh is there a real popular, did I look it up? Is there a real popular YouTube or Instagram, something called Bang, or uh there's they were contacted by a real popular social media group that tomorrow they're going for I would tell you, it's in the movie industry, it's like a pilot. But that's not what they called it. But the two of them are supposed to go in and tell a story, because this group wants to see the chemistry between the two of them and whether or not they would be able to work a program together, like I guess some kind of podcast or something that they would do.
Okay.
And they're both excited about it. My wife is excited about it. I'm excited about it to the point that Allah has allowed me to live long enough to see the types of things that have been put in front of him, that have already been written into his destiny. And just to be there as a witness to all this new stuff. I mean, this all this stuff is new for me. I mean, I'm trying to tell you all the story and can't half remember the names of anything, because this is not my world. But as soon as I get more and know more, I'll pass it along because it's intriguing to me the things that we learn from each other that he learned even on this trip where he met a man who advised him to set his own salary, to set his own paycheck, and then told him what he did for a living, where he was a fixer, but he was a fixer in the frozen food, in the frozen food industry. Flies all over the world. Just spent 3 weeks in some foreign country trying to resolve a problem for a company that he did solve, and was on his way back home. And the two of them, the two of them met on a flight. And one of the things my son said to me, he said, from now on, I'm going to fly first class. Because he said that's where you meet the most interesting people. And because they had bumped him up to first class on a flight from Barcelona to London. He was in London, I guess maybe for a week, and then he flew first class from London to New Jersey, to whatever the airport is in Jersey. But this is where he met this guy that told him to, to set his own salary, and explain to him. And it was 2 things that he explained to him that a lot of people, that young people could start to pursue, where they would be valuable around the world. And he doesn't, he is not, he doesn't have a 9 to 5. So when he doesn't work until somebody calls. But when they call, he's able to set his own salary, to tell them, and apparently he's much needed because there's not a whole lot of people with his expertise. And by the time they get to him, they may have already hired the wrong person who couldn't solve the problem. So I mean, it's a good gig if you can get it.
Right.
But anyway, enough about our children. Let's I guess assalamu alaikum, brother Hassan. Alhamdulillah.
Walaikum salam.
Alhamdulillah.
So let's, Imam Taalib, if you don't mind, let's officially open.
Yes, sir.
This will be short, but let's do it.
Yes, sir. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbi Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka nabadu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina sirata mustaqim. Taalib-Din anta ilayhim. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Alhamdulillahi Rabbi Alameen. All right.
So not from, at least from my standpoint, there's not a lot to discuss, that's happened over the last 6-7 days. The one thing I will mention, and Omar's not here to kind of help fill in some of the blanks, but I sent out, and I'm continuing to send out email inquiries to a lot of the credit unions that are on that list that we were given.
Mhm.
And very few responses, but did get a very interesting response from State Employees Credit Union in North Carolina, based in Raleigh. And I think I sent you guys the correspondence that I got back from them. And I asked Omar to follow up on it. I don't know if he's had a chance to do that or not, but they are interested in working with us, collaborating with us on our financial freedom piece. And, this is a credit union that covers all the state employees in the state of North Carolina.
Okay.
And, I was just thinking if we did something like that and it went well, it's obviously a feather in our cap to reach out to other credit unions, other nonprofits with our effort to kind of build our brand a little bit more and potentially ease our path a little bit with NCUA as to, our viability. We get to that point that we're ready to either take over a credit union or, open a fresh credit union, that they're going to already know that we have a level of professionalism and expertise and working with the community behind us,
Right.
that we get a little more of a green light than a yellow light,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's a good strategy. It might even bring, the ultimate goal would be to bring NCUA to us.
Exactly.
We don't have to
Yeah.
go to them.
Right.
They want to know about our program a little more. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see that being a benefit to us.
Yeah. So I mean, my only concern is obviously putting something else on Omar's plate, and just wondering, if something like that developed, how much of that he could handle, and then what would be the rest of our roles in bringing ourselves up to speed. So if we needed to, to step in and give him some relief on some of that, if it actually grew to the point, that we're getting all these requests, and I know we had talked about, this is probably over a year ago now, we had talked about training programs of training community individuals who had an interest in these areas, so that they could actually run some of these same classes that Omar's doing for us, that this is some kind of community outreach thing that we could sponsor and make sure they had, everything that they need, the booklets and all that thing, and actually get them trained up to go do these things in their communities across the country. So anyway, that was the most exciting thing that happened credit union wise or Graceline wise this week. But I actually thought that was a positive, because the lady said in the email, I visited your website,
Mhm.
right? I visited your website, and we think something along the lines, we think we would like to work with you, collaborate with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the fact that she took the time to go see the website and, do a
Right.
little exploration there and then reach back out to us, I thought it was fantastic. It's
So
ready to set up a call.
in relationship to Omar and the rest of us kind of joining with him in some capacity to take up some of the slack. One of the things that I would suggest that we do is reach out to him ASAP and see when the next, because I don't have the schedule in front of me, but the next seminar that he's going to hold, or webinar that he's going to hold, and be there to listen, to see how he makes his delivery. Are these webinars, can we make the ones he's already done, are they available on YouTube or some other platform?
They are not presently available, obviously, because of the fact that, people are actually paying. Many,
Ah,
not everybody, are actually paying for access to these webinars. Right.
okay. All right.
So to make them immediately
Okay.
available is,
All right. That's right. Yeah. That kind of defeats the purpose, don't
exactly right. So I
it?
mean,
Okay.
obviously, at some time in the future, they'll be available
Right. But
like that.
okay, but it's still, I guess, and I think I'll try to do this myself, inshallah, is to attend attend some of the webinars and just listen.
Mhm.
And I guess we can reach out to him to ask, for the link so that it's not necessarily costing us,
Right.
to do this. But that would be one thing that we could do, so that if we do have to replace him, the transition is going to be smooth, because none of us are going to have to feel like, well, what do I do? How do I do this? We've already observed what Omar has done.
Right.
I mean, that would be one thing that I would contribute to this conversation, relative to that. I too had started looking at some of the ones that were some of the credit unions that were being offered on that list, and the very, I'm still setting up this criteria, but in reviewing the criteria, I found a credit union here in Washington, D.C. It's located in Chinatown. And what I found to be interesting about it, and I kind of delved into it, because I wanted to know more. And I took a look at their website. And one of the things that struck me, and I mean, I kind of went into this website pretty deep. It's called the Lee Federal Credit
Union, yep.
of Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that they are doing, when you read like about us, building stronger community and happy families, one loan at a time. All right. And their membership eligibility is what caught me. And they would, I'm going to presume at this point that they would never ever allow any one of us into this group, because eligibility to be a member of the Lee Federal Credit Union, you must be a member of the Lee On Dong Association. You can also become a member if you are the current spouse, child, or parent of a member. So this is a credit union that has closed ranks. I'm not absolutely sure, but this Lee On Dong Association is present in maybe 5 different cities. I don't know if they have.
I thought they only had that one branch location.
I'm not absolutely sure. There may be one in Portland.
Okay.
But don't quote me on that, because but it was just interesting to me that this group is doing the things that we have been talking about. The services, that they offer. They got savings and lending and even shares. They don't have anything that is active in the present, but one of the things that they sponsor are scholarships. At the time I was looking at it, there weren't any. They produced their own newsletter, and they allow for you to see their newsletter in their language or in English. So, and when I haven't read the entire newsletter, but it covers things like they even a dividend rate that they offer. The scholarship program is gearing back up again. They're accepting applications now for 2026. Nothing heavy. They just kind of report, when they're going to be posting dividends and then the usual stuff that they post to their members. So the dividends will be posted on April 1st, 2026. And you, in order to receive a dividend, you've got to have a minimum balance in your account at $100. Okay, so from account, and they do deduct $2 from every account for any balance that's under $50. So, in other words, people are encouraged to keep money in the credit union.
Yeah.
So, but I was just attracted to them because if I was to take just looking at their website and looking at who they are and what they're trying to do, all I'd have to do is replace some of the Chinese with a little bit of Arabic, and replace all the pictures with Muslims.
Right.
The other thing that I learned in this, and I'm still investigating it, trying to get a clear understanding to its meaning, and I Googled it to understand the language of it. But on the list, they have what is described. There's a category for what they describe as a member penetration formula. And it's done in percentages. And in looking at the chart, there is I see one credit union where this member penetration formula is 0.32. But in other places, I see it as high as 74.80. There's one that's even 90.30%. And so, I looked it up to understand what it was. And it was a ratio that they use, if I'm understanding it correctly, it's a ratio that they use to sort of predict it's designed to predict what your potential could be. And it appears to be more centered around that potential for loans. In other words, this percentage says to you, it doesn't tell you how to do better, but it does say to you, you have the potential to do better than what you are doing at the present time. I'm still looking at it to understand it fully. And when I say understand it fully, I want to be able to understand how they use this member penetration formula for credit unions that are showing millions in assets, and my presumption is where you may be showing $7, $8, $9 million in assets, this chart is saying you could do better. You could be doing more. I'm also looking at the potential members that each one of these credit unions could have, and it even breaks it down to the numbers who joined, and then what the current number is at the present time. And then, of course, they even have a category of what the potential members could be. So there's all of these moving parts that that Edward and I, need to kind of parse through. I'm parsing through it to see. I want to. There's got to be a formula here. I'm looking for a formula to be able to select certain ones to go after. There is one in particular that it is the noteworthy federal credit union. I have not I have not fully explored them yet. I'm picking on them because they were the ones. Wait a minute, is that the right one? I need to do what I say. I need to highlight these so that I make sure I am on the right. No, I think it's not them. It is. Hold tight just one moment. I don't want to say something that is not true. Faith-based or fraternal, that's right. That's right. Okay. Is this, and this may not, yeah, tracing it back. I went to look at that one. Now I see why. Remember I was telling you about the one that had the member penetration formula that was low,
Yes.
0.32, and it's actually its CEO is at least he's Muslim by name. Where'd he go? Ulabai Muhammad. But I believe the reason it's that low is because it's actually the federal credit union for the University of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, okay.
So these are students, or at least I'm going to presume they're students. But they do have, it's an associational other than faith-based or fraternal. And and it looks like they have NCUA has designated them with one of the highest potential members. And I'm assuming this is 29,000 is going to be based on the number of students at the university. But I mean, they're holding total assets of a little over $7 million. So I mean, they're not. I mean, even though they're on the struggle list, you know, they ain't doing too bad. I mean, you know, for a group of students, and they're that's 5. Yeah, and I see why they're on the list, because they don't have many shares right now. But you know, I mean, they've got a net worth of 917,000. But that's it's parsing through this type of info, and then I got lost once I hit the Lee Federal Credit Union, because you know, once I saw it was in Washington, D.C., I kind of, you know, delved into that, and lost sight of what I started out to do. But I'm going to continue with this and give a more thorough report once I have identified and been able to reach out to some of these what is it? I mean, the list that I have is for over 200, just over 200 credit unions, and the list might be at least 2 years old, Edward?
I think this particular list is right at, I think September 30th of every year is when these assessments are made. So yeah, it's getting close, because
Okay.
this would be a 2024 list.
Okay.
And what part of the reason I know that is some of the credit unions that are on this list have either already been absorbed by other credit unions,
Okay.
or as our whatever NCUA contact person, Michelle, wrote back to me, shut down. Because I asked her specifically about a particular credit union,
Okay.
and they had locked the doors on that one.
Okay. All right. Well, we're in the ballpark.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in the ballpark. We just I just need to keep doing these reviews and track down some of the contact information, because all of them don't have all of them do not have websites, and
Right.
they
Yeah.
don't give you email addresses or phone numbers. So if in fact, I'm gonna make a note to myself, because one of the things I could do is do even like a form letter, that if I can get an address for them simply by putting in their name and finding their location, we can do it the old-fashioned way and just send it through the post office.
Right.
Letter to, yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I would want to look at, and I haven't had a chance to do this, I would love to track like the last 5 to 7 years of these credit unions and see if they're growing or they're shrinking. Because the one that was mentioned to us about 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years, was the North Carolina Press Association Federal Credit. And that was an original list that we had, and it must have been from 2022, I believe,
Okay.
or 2023, probably 2023. That we've gotten one of these lists before, and that, because they're in Charlotte, that particular credit union is brought to our attention as one that we might want to reach out to. We never did. So I did try to contact them. And this is where State Employees Credit Union comes in, because my email was written to the North Carolina Press Association Federal Credit Union. Well, they basically, they're non-existent to an extent. I mean, the charter hasn't been canceled, but everything for them now runs through State Employees Credit Union. So for all practical purposes, State Employees Credit Union has done what we're seeking to do. They've gone in and taken over management of that credit union.
Yeah, they were number 4 on the list. I'm looking at them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So my email to them bounced to, obviously, State Employees Credit Union, and that's who responded back to us.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right.
So we're probably going to find that, just like the one in New York that had been totally shut down. We're going to find, I would bet, anywhere from 10 to 15% of these are probably not operating anymore. And even the one that you mentioned, I just take a look at Lee. They have one employee, and I'm going to put it this way. I don't know if they have one employee, but I know that in their balance sheet, the employee compensation for the last fiscal year was $18,000.
Okay.
Now,
part-time job.
yeah, part-time job.
Right.
Probably a single teller who's there twice a week.
Right.
More than likely. And to take deposits, do some customer business, that type of thing.
Right.
Now, what I don't know, and this is might take a phone call, I don't know, was that a report for an entire year, or that was a report for 6 months? My assumption is, because that was something they filed with NCUA, that it was for the entire year.
Okay.
I mean, double that, say 36,000 makes a lot more sense, but really could be a part-time employee, $18,000 a year. And like that one credit union that I talked to in New York, just right outside New York City, they were open on Wednesday afternoons and Saturday mornings.
Okay.
That was it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was a faith-based credit union. It was affiliated with a Baptist church there. Yeah.
Okay. Man, oh man. Okay.
So, I mean, and I think because, some of these churches, especially aging demographic in those churches. And
I'm looking at one right now. I don't know if it's the same one, but it is First Baptist Federal Credit Union. Yeah. And that ratio I was telling you about, that member penetration percentage, theirs is 100%.
Okay. Well, everybody's involved then. Everybody's trying to keep it going.
100%. Yeah. So and Now, yeah, let me see something here. Hmm. I got, yeah. Yeah, this gives me, yeah, this looks like it here. Judge Gerard, 100%. Yeah, and they've got their assets are relatively low, and they're not the only one that is yeah, that First Baptist. Let me reach. What did you say you reached out to them? Or
Not that particular one. It was another Baptist church in New
okay,
York, Westchester
okay,
County, New York,
okay.
I think.
Yeah, because one of the things that that I'm looking at as potentials is the total net worth of a credit union. And when I see this one, for example, that whatever this First Baptist Church is, they got total assets of $16,000.
Yeah, that's really small.
Yeah.
That's barely how much cash on hand does it show how much cash on hand they have?
Right now, uh, two. Let me see here. Make sure I'm in the right column. Total assets is 294,000.
Okay.
Yeah, let me look. I'm going to look at some of these because there's many more of them that have very low total assets. 48,000, 52,000, 61, 27, 39. But I don't see any one of them is one for 19,000. Yeah, maybe that's where I'll start. I'll look at these low numbers and trace them over. And yeah, here's another one for 27,000. Yeah, 21,000. Yeah, let me good God Almighty. Here's some as low as total assets of 2,000. How in the world? So that might be the ones that they've shut down.
Possibly, yeah.
People's Independent Church, Holy Trinity Baptist. Yeah. Well, anyway, I mean, we got a list to work with, so that's what I will do.
I want to take a moment and just greet our guest, Sister Patricia, has joined us. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Patricia. And I don't know who is on iPhone 88, but assalamu alaikum and welcome to Graceline Community meeting on Sunday. Thank you both for being here.
Yeah, this would have been so. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Sister Petra.
Walaikum salam. I'm just
No,
walaikum salam. I'm grateful to be here.
no.
Thank you.
Yep. So we have that list that we've been going through. I also see one. I also see one in Vienna, which is close to me. That I'll have the opportunity to take a to take a closer look at. And I do think I'm going to just do a drive-by of the Lee Federal Credit Union down in Chinatown.
I have a
Uh,
question once you finish, Brother Talib, Imam
no, go
Talib.
ahead. Go ahead with your question.
I don't know which Omar you're talking about. So first of all, my question is which Omar are you talking about?
Omar Mohammed.
Okay, so
He's in South Carolina.
let me say this to you. I am not a business person. I confess that, meaning I've run businesses in terms of supporting others who are business people. I've worked for top leadership in our community, and I know lots of business people, but I have not. Study al-Islam is a business, and I run it, but I don't run it for profit. So
Mhm.
let me just say that. So I want to preface that, but I understand the importance of economic wealth. Um, and so this is my question to you. I know that Omar Kareem, and I look to you all for business, meaning I trust you and I believe that you can make good business decisions. I know that I have asked Omar Kareem, when
Mhm.
will he put together a project that investors like myself who are interested in investing? I know that he's developing of some vast property in Prince George's County, not Prince
Right.
George's County, somewhere in Maryland.
Yeah, no, it's PG County. I know where
Okay.
it is.
My
Yeah.
question to you, Brother Talib, and to you, Brother Edward, as business people, is there an interest is there an interest in seeing whether we could invest as a group in that if it's worthy of investment? Meaning, I'd like to collectively invest with this group. I know that you all are starting the um, it's my memory
The credit
or
union.
right, but I
Mhm.
know that Omar is also developing a vast amount of property.
Mhm.
I'm looking to collectively invest with a group of business people who are savvy in business rather than necessarily invest in stocks. Not that I wouldn't invest in stocks, but
Right,
not
I
but
understand.
I'm trying to support the infrastructure of our community. I don't
Mhm.
know if my question is clear.
It is.
It's clear.
It is very clear, and
Yeah.
it is something that I have asked a lot of people about, say, over the last 10 to 15 years. And it has surprised me beyond measure that with the talented business people that we have in our community, and I'm talking about people who are well known in our community, that more opportunities have not been created for us as individuals or as groups to invest in projects in our community.
Okay.
I'll give you one stark example, and that is the detergent manufacturing company that we have in Atlanta, Georgia, right?
Mhm.
And
Okay.
it was started by a small group of entrepreneurs in our community. I think the company has done well. Like any entrepreneurial activity such as theirs, you can only grow so much without capital contributions coming from outside your own pocket. You, if you really want to grow and expand, you need capital coming from people like me and Talib and yourself and Sister Patricia and Brother Hassan and 10,000 other people investing $500, $1,500, $5,000, $25,000 and owning a piece of that particular company,
Right.
right? But everybody I've talked to has failed to go to the attorneys who are also in our community, who have the expertise of putting together an offering of that kind that meets federal and state law, all the fiduciary guidelines, and then give each and every one of us an opportunity to invest at the level that we're comfortable with.
Right.
I don't know why we haven't done it.
Let me just say, Omar's reason he gave me, which I think is reasonable, because I worked at the Washington Convention Center. I was a part of the management team at the Washington Convention Center, and I remember when we were giving out contracts, Clark Smoot, their excuse for not working with small disadvantaged businesses was that they could not manage individual small disadvantaged businesses. So what we did at the Washington Convention Center, we got together with the LSDBE businesses, local small disadvantaged businesses, and we told them that they needed to form a company where they all came under that umbrella, but they were bidding on contracts as one company and not 25 different companies. Omar told me it's difficult to uh, extend the opportunity to individuals. And I accept that because I've heard that before. But what about a collective group? Now, they have a group called the Collectives. And what I'm
Yes.
saying is why I trust Talib, I trust you, Brother Edward. Why couldn't we form a collective and invest rather than for them to to deny Fitra Muhammad or to deny Talib or to deny you? Why can't we form a collective of investors, and that would make it easier for them to accept to allow us the opportunity to grow wealth? And then you guys would be responsible for divvying out any dividends or profits to our collective group.
So, number one, I'm familiar with the collective. I was invited to their most recent get together
Right.
that they had down in the Atlanta area. Did not attend. I don't know enough about them, but you're the second person now who's mentioned them to me. So there must be something somewhat solid about what they're trying to do. Uh, the monies that they put together, I don't know where they invest their money. I'm sure they hold that information close to their vest. But that is an idea. So that's out to me, the collective is the outside looking in point of view. I'm more interested in being on the inside, opening the door to let people in. So, for example, the project that Brother Omar is doing in Prince George's County.
Right.
Let's say he wants to raise $50 million to truly develop that area, the vision that he has. Is he gonna have to go get a bank loan to do that? I mean, that's definitely one approach. You know, the bank says how much capital you have to put into your own project. Can you put up 10% of it and we'll finance the rest of it over whatever, 20 years or whatever. So that's an approach. And another approach is to sell me a share of it. What percentage of that project can Edward Willis own for $25,000 and expect dividends for the next 30, 50 years? I can pass it on to my kids coming from income generated by that project. The collective could collectively buy a piece of that project. In fact, Omar might want to pre-sell or offer shares for 50% of that project before for then saying, hey, I don't need 50 million from you, Chase Manhattan Bank or whoever. I only need 25 because I've got $25 million that I raised from private investment. So I've already got 50% equity in this project before it's ever done. And I only owe the bank $25 million. And because of, let's say, the success of that project, my investors who are getting dividends, maybe they will reinvest their dividends instead of taking them out as cash. That allows me to retire that debt early that I have with the bank. And also to go forward and start developing other properties with this group of investors that I have. So we don't have these one-offs, that we have a project manager, a company that is doing multiple projects all around the country and potentially around the world with a group of very satisfied investors who are going to follow those projects anywhere, that developer anywhere he goes. Because now we've seen his work. We're making money off of it, even though it might be unrealized gains. I don't want my money back right now. I want to reinvest. Let's go do something else. Right? And maybe my children cash it in at some point in time. I don't need it. Let's go do something else. And it eliminates us having to go to a bank, or that developer having to always go to a bank for a project. They've got cash, they've got cash flow. They can even attract additional investors. And sometimes you do go to the bank, because sometimes getting the bank money now, if you're successful, is actually cheaper than always paying the investors. But that's down the road. We haven't had anybody that, to my knowledge, who's put something together like that they can just extrapolate that and build off of it and build off of it and build off of it, roll from project to project.
Right.
And
Right.
I would, just like I invest in the stock market, I would invest in a project like that. And in fact,
Exactly.
I already do. There's a group called Fundrise that's doing exactly what I just described, that I've been investing in for 10 years. And I run into people all the time who bring it up in conversation, and then we're like friends because we all invested in fundraising. It started from a simple idea. We're going to buy an apartment complex. The apartment complex costs $18 million. You can invest in this particular project for as little as $10. They still have that model to this day. You can invest in a Fundrise real estate project for as little as $10.
And I just want to say that I want to be even more realistic, and Brother Talib could probably speak to this better. Pretty soon, Medina Life, which is a nonprofit organization here in Washington D.C., and the majority owner of the Clara in the partnership with Omar is soon going to have to buy out Omar. And the question becomes: is are we preparing, to create opportunities? We keep saying that these projects are for the benefit of the community, but none of us are getting rich from any of these projects. And I'm not saying that these projects can make you rich, but we're not creating any opportunities for the believers to invest, is what I'm saying. And again, I'm not a business person. I'm a service oriented person. Everything I do is probably for free, more than the money that I get paid. But I respect you all as businessmen, and you know, and I look to you like I look to my doctor or to my mechanic or to my to the salon that I go to. I look to you all to create these kinds of opportunities for people like me.
And therein lies the problem.
Well,
Yep.
the issue is getting people to understand. We do have a lack of really strong business knowledge when it comes to that next level of intricacy in business. of using the way the laws are written
Right.
for tax purposes and capital raising purposes to be able to attract dollars in the right way and then be able to manage those particular situations so you don't run afoul of those same tax laws or fiduciary laws on the state level or whatever. We don't have a lot of people that have that particular level of expertise. So much of the business that we do, we finance out of our own pockets. And we use money that we make from sales and things of that nature to finance the next thing instead of actually opening the doors and inviting other people in to share in the gains with us by becoming investors. Imam W.D. Muhammad tried to start that at the most basic level, of having people basically invest in a co-op model, right? The cooperative is a spinoff of that, right? It's a co-op model. We all pool our money together. We buy fish, we buy this, we buy that. We sell this into the marketplace. The profits that we have come out and then they're distributed based on your level of investment. If you invested $10,000 and you get 10% dividend, you know what that number is. If you invested 1,000, you know what your 10% dividend is going to be, and so on and so forth. That's a cooperative model. And it does work if the people are consistent in either investing or reinvesting instead of having to necessarily live off of the profits that come in. Because if you're taking all the profits off the table, as soon as they come in, you're starting all over from scratch, right? So the idea is to increase the size of the number of people who can be participants in an enterprise because people have different needs. My needs may be long-term. I want my money to stay in and grow. Your needs may be short-term. You might need that profit and your principal back, right? For a particular short-term reason. Might be paying for a child's education that's going to be due in the next 5 years. So you're looking at a 5-year window. I might be looking at a 20-year window. Somebody else might be looking to their grandchildren to reap benefits from that. They're looking at a 40-year window, something. So, but you have to have a large enough pool of people to balance all those different demands so that as a business person, you're not always in a plus, is where capital is going to come from. And you're not always having to put back 20% of anything that you make. You're putting back 20% because you don't know when you're going to next be in a cash flow squeeze because everybody's asking for their money off the table, right? They're ready to go home and go buy cars or whatever, go on vacation.
Yep.
So if you have a large enough group of people with differing, they have different needs, and that door is always open. Somebody leaves, 2 people come in and buy their shares. Then you have an opportunity that you can forecast enough into the future that it's easier to make future plans. Also, your banker loves you because your banker is now offering you money that you don't need. They're just waiting for the opportunity to give you some money. So you know that you're always going to be capable, even in a worst case scenario that you have to go to the bank. You know that you're going to be able to do the next best thing that comes along, those opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't developed that model to the extent that we can. Because I think that we can actually do that based on a tight-knit community that we supposedly have. You can start that enterprise, and then the rest of the world sees it as a bright, shining star, that light within the lamp, that just keeps glowing and glowing and glowing, and they want a part of it. But we first have to create that. And I'm at my wit's end to be able to have conversations that lasts long enough for us to flesh out what it is we can do in what
Yep.
industry, you know, hopefully we don't have to start from scratch. Maybe we start from an existing enterprise, maybe Brother Omar, maybe the detergent company, maybe there's another halal industry that we're developing out there that we can do this with. But something that is galvanizing, that the entire community can get behind, that's structured in such a way that the trust issues that we have with each other start to dissolve.
Yes, that's a major hurdle. I mean, the fact that we gave the contract to Omar to build the Clara, it had a lot to do. We had a long discussion on trust, and then ability was this, of course, the was he qualified, but we spent more time talking about trust than we did qualifications. And so I guess I'm being very short-sighted because you guys are trying to open a credit union. I guess my question should really be not looking for options to invest in what Omar is doing, but to ask you, where is the credit union? And do I need to bring you all on Study Al-Islam to talk, because we have not talked enough about this credit union. And
Right.
that's under that is under your leadership.
Mhm.
And so maybe what I'm doing is looking for the goal, and instead of looking for it in my own backyard, I'm looking for it in them their hills. And so I should be talking to you and Talib about the credit union and not about what Omar is doing, but to be helping to get the credit union off the ground. So where are you all with the
It's,
credit union?
So number one, let me answer by saying it's all intertwined
yep, I was about to
because
say the same thing. Yep.
the trust aspect is just as big with us trying to get this credit union open for the benefit of this community as everything else that you've mentioned. Study Al-Islam's growth, ability to grow even larger, the newspaper's ability to spread and grow any larger. I mean, I could go on and on and on.
Right.
Trust and interconnectedness, right? So the very last serious meeting that we had with NCUA, which is the governing body of credit unions, they are the ones that issued the charter. And I think almost all of us were on that meeting. I'm talking about the board. Taalib, myself, Brother Adam, so on and so forth. We were in that meeting. The follow-up of that meeting, and she may have said this in the meeting. I have to go back and listen, but I know she wrote it in a note to us. She gave us a number, and that number was 3,000. You need 3,000 members of your organization. And from that point on, we will turn backflips trying to get you a charter as a credit union. 3,000.
Yep.
Can we get 3,000 so-called members or believers who are part of IWDM community to become free, no dues members of Graceline Community so that we can present that to NCUA? And the answer is we're about halfway there.
Mhm.
You're about halfway there. And given the way people talk about the size of our community, that if enough people knew, in other words, this is where the interconnectedness comes in. I tell somebody who tells two people, those two people tell two people, and it just continues like that because everybody in the community is talking to other people in the community about the efforts the community is making toward progress for the community.
Right.
But this word has not spread like that. It's been like pulling teeth to get people to become members of Graceline Community. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to pay any dues.
Right.
They just have to know about the effort and think that it's worthwhile for the community to have its own primary financial institution, even if it's just a credit union and not a national bank. That it's important enough for them that they would simply sign up as a member who can only
which
benefit
is
with,
free
which is
membership.
free, and you have to do nothing. You can go to the website and read the most recent updates. You can get information sent to you on a regular basis about things that might help you financially in your life. But again, it's been like pulling teeth.
Yep.
That is the lack of interconnectedness that we have in our community. We isolate from each other, except for maybe 1 or 2 times a year, maybe. We're isolated. So that's big. Obviously, the trust issue is big, even though I would say in this particular case, because you're risking nothing, I don't really see that as being as big an issue as I think just people lacking knowledge and clarity about what we're trying to do. So that's Sister Picture. That's why we were talking earlier about reaching out to these other credit unions, that we've decided that it's a 50-50, that we might be better off going to an existing credit union and simply taking over the management of an existing credit union.
Yep. Yep.
We don't have the same hurdles of getting 3,000 interested parties, people that we can present to NCUA. Just go get a struggling credit union and take over management of it and make it a better place for anybody, and also open the doors to our entire community as well.
Right. Right. And that's been a decision that we recently made, because and I've been I've been pushing it, because with our people, be them Muslim or African American, or however you want to categorize these our people, they want to see instant gratification. No one wants to do the work. We're doing the work. We're doing the background. I mean, and quite honestly, from my perspective, for the last 55 years of my entrepreneurship up to now, I am still on a learning curve. I do things and then find out later what I'm doing. There's a category for that in the world of academia, but I don't know it. I'm just doing it. So, but when I find those things, particularly in our community, that I want to support, they get my support. What I started to develop was what I later learned is building a business to scale. I didn't understand what that meant, because I was in the throes of trying to do that in the earlier 80s, only to be distracted by my own city trying to shut down my business. I still have a sort of business model that I put together to open up my business in 30 different major cities across the country. But I look now, and I see we mentioned True Detergent. I became a customer of theirs in the last year. I no longer go to the store and buy Arm & Hammer or Tide or Gain or any of that. I get True Detergent. And we need it. I just had an order to come in. When they have issues with shipping, I don't get all bent out of shape and, where's my money? I paid for it. Here's my receipt. No. I call them, let them know that an order I placed, I had not received. The brother asked me, said, can I call you back in 30 minutes? Because it was obvious to me as a business person, I could tell that he was trying to solve another issue on the phone on the phone with me and trying to solve an issue that it sounded like he was having on site. So I said, yes, that'll be fine. 30 minutes, he called back. The only mistake he made was to tell me that my order was going out that day. I would tell you within 2 hours, somebody was knocking on the door from the delivery, and there my order was sitting right on the porch. But the point I'm making to you is this.
What was his mistake?
The mistake he made was telling me that my order went out today. Now they're in Georgia. So my order, unless he just drove it up here. But I'm excusing that because I understand these are the issues that we have in business. They may want to grow their business to scale so that I no longer have to purchase True Detergent online. I can walk into my local grocery store and there it is.
Right.
But I know that's going to be an issue. I've experienced that personally. We had products, I don't know maybe 10, 15 years ago. Our products were in Whole Foods. Not all of them, but we had product in at least 3 Whole Foods. And the only reason that they were in there was because those particular ones, the buyers knew who we were. They knew about our product and they bought it in. Not anymore, because the buyers have changed. So, but getting back to the point that you were making, Edward covered a lot of ground in the narrative that he presented to you. And it could have all been summed up in trust and commitment.
Right.
Whatever it is, each one of us on this call right now, whatever we do on a daily basis, in order for the type of thing to work that you're speaking of right now, and I understand it, I've been tossing it around in my head, trying to figure out how we can get this done. And even for me, it comes down to commitment. When am I going to set aside everything else that I'm doing, perhaps including Graceline, in order to pull together this sort of collective? I've looked at things like many of you have heard about this, where, let's just say for the sake of this conversation, 10 people come together and every month they put $1,000 into one pot. And that money is designed to open up businesses in the community. And every month another 1,000 goes in, and that 10,000 goes to a person to get business started. That has to begin with trust. That has to begin with some documentation that explains to everyone what they are getting into. It has to be, you have to find people who are going to commit themselves to these various businesses where, and Edward talked about this, the way I used to talk about it was you think you found the right people. And when you go back to them 2, 3, 4 months later, it's like, brother, sister, what happened to that project? Oh man, my brakes went out. My mother got sick. I mean, there's just a list of excuses as to why this wasn't done. And I know from my own entrepreneurial journey, there's no room for that. There may be mornings that you don't eat, nights that you don't eat, nights that you don't sleep because you are on a mission to accomplish your goal of getting this business started. I admire Omar Kareem. I've watched him. He and I know people together who are in the same business that he's in. That property that you're talking about, that he owns at Central Avenue and what is it? Central Avenue, I think, in Allentown Road. It sits right out in PG County, very close to, if not across the street from the is that Addison Road? The Addison Road Metro Station. If you look at the Metro map, if there's an Addison Road out in PG County, in Capitol Heights, his housing project is right across the street from that Metro station. It's not a lot of space. I would tell you, oh man, if my best guess, I would tell you it's probably 2 acres or less. But I've watched that project grow from a corner of just trees to now, the last time I went to look, and it was, oh man, this had to be, I would tell you, in the last year, the land was cleared and it looked like the project was in its beginning stages. I'm certainly willing to speak to him about this, and I do not know him that well. But I do know that he just recently gave the inaugural khutbah at Sycamore and Oak, which for those of you who don't know, it's a pavilion. And it turns out, I didn't know this, it turns out he built this outdoor pavilion, that project, his company actually built it. But he gave the inaugural khutbah at this Sycamore and Oak facility with a group of people who are coming together each Jummah. And our goal in this process is not to build a masjid. Our goal is to endear ourselves to the community, to do work in the very community where we're holding our Jummahs. Meaning, when we collect our zakat and we collect our sadaqah, this money is not going to build a masjid. It is going, for example, when school starts back, we're going to buy backpacks for the school supplies for the children. Any of these public charter schools that require uniforms, if the children are not able to afford the uniform, we'll purchase them for them. We want to start programs, consistent programs and holistic ones that will help those, what they now call returning citizens, particularly those that come out having had nothing but time to study the dean. Now we want to be able to keep them in our ranks because we have places for them to go, things for them to do. Essentially, what we're going to do is we're trying to build a community. We don't need any more masjids. Sister Fitra and I have had this conversation. We don't need more masjids because masjids in this country are not sustainable. We can't keep up. We can't keep going back to the same people trying to raise the same money in order to keep a masjid afloat. These masjids must become self-sustaining, meaning there needs to have businesses. We need to start having conversations about entrepreneurship, about what kind of business are you ready to go into, and what kind of business are we ready to support? I mean, we've got to start to be serious about this. We just what we're doing right now, and I don't mean to offend anyone's sensibilities, but all we're doing right now is pimping our own community.
That's the truth, starting with these $150 dinners that they have,
Okay.
$300 for a couple. And I ask each and every one of them, you tell me the last time you and your husband went out and spent $300 on a meal. I just want to know realistically. And the fact that they are calling these fundraisers, they're predatory. And what I don't want to do is to start a fight in our community because my whole my whole mission, Study al-Islam's mission, is to support the infrastructure. But they are, I'm saying it here, they are predatory. And I ask the question all the time, just tell me when's the last time you went to dinner and you spent $150 on some baked chicken?
Right.
It's terrible. But
Right.
let me just say this to you, Brother Talib and Brother Edward. You know, there was a group in North Carolina. What they did was, and the only reason I didn't get involved with them was because I was too late. They had closed their membership out. But they started off just buying houses and flipping them. I think if you know, Imam Muhammad said something, and I wanted to share this with you, Talib, because you said you were talking about you didn't know what to call it in terms of the fact that you get involved in something and find out more things about it. Imam Muhammad said, may he be in the highest place in paradise. He says, start where you know it will take you to what you don't know.
Right. Yes.
And
Yes,
so I think that if again, because I'm not a business person, but I would like to do something on a collective base because I came through the Nation of Islam like most of you, and I'm my DNA, it's in my DNA to do for self. Even if we went to a place like Detroit, and I'll tell you, we have a place even closer in Trenton, New Jersey, where we would collectively buy houses. We need to be somewhere where there's a credible developer who could come in and rehab the house. But even if we did that, we would and had a few success stories, we could attract those. We could attract those who are apprehensive about investing their money. But something as small as that, I'm appealing to you, Talib, and you, Edward, because I know that Detroit is one of those cities where you have a developer, Mark Crane, who was doing an amazing project. I think he's run into some politics within our community that has really dampened his spirit. But Mark Crane is an extremely young, smart young man who lives in Detroit. And I'd like to share his number with you to find out what he's doing. And maybe we could boost his morale back up because he was doing a great project. But even something like that, if I could, if I could become a part of just flipping houses, where I wouldn't have to put any more than maybe $10,000 with everyone else to buy a home for $20,000 or $30,000 because they had those type of homes in Detroit because it was just a slum area.
Right.
But even if we targeted an area and brought homes together, I think we could. It doesn't have to be as big as and that's not to give up your dream on the project that you're working on, but to get some immediate gratification that you were talking about, Talib.
Right.
Because
Right.
people do want immediate
Yep.
gratification in order to trust you to think that we can do something bigger.
Yep. Yep. And that's it. So um I'll reach out to you. I'll just text you later and ask you for Mark Crane's number.
Oh, he is, I'm telling you, he's one of the young premiers developers in our community who is doing a great project. I will introduce him to you by text and
Okay.
you can reach out to him.
That'd be good because I mean
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and trust me, I understand what he's going through. I mean,
Yes.
I understand it. I mean, I have presented myself to communities in our area. Um, I don't know what it's going to take. I do not know what it's going to take to bring them around, but I'm going to keep doing what I do.
Exactly.
And Allah is going to bring me the people at the time that I need them and not a moment before.
That's right.
And so if I can do no more than speak with him to offer him words of encouragement, because I've
Yes.
been there. I mean, I understand it.
And he needs it.
Yeah.
He needs it.
Yep. And I had to be reminded. In fact, I am, and I can tell you this now, and I'll send you some information later. I've been asked by this same group at Sycamore and Oak to give the Kutbah this Friday as well. I was supposed to give it yesterday. I'm sorry. I was supposed to give it this past Juma, but because it is city-owned property, the city declared a heat emergency. And so this pavilion is outdoors. And so it was shut down for any outdoor events. But next Juma, inshallah, I'll be giving the khutbah, and it is preliminarily titled Building Communities. So and my hope is that Allah will bless me to use this talk as a springboard to doing some of the things that you are speaking of now. And just stop all this pontificating and what if and
Right.
And start putting these things into things that are actionable, and those who are willing to come along, it'll be for them. Some folk are just going to have to be kicking and screaming. I'm not going to concern myself with them right now. I want to be concerned about educating those who want to be educated, providing them with the knowledge that they're going to need, where they can go back and even study this stuff on their own, so that the information that they receive doesn't die with them. So and be able to pass it on to other people that they may benefit from it as well. So I thank you for raising that one simple question. And it has I don't know if you can tell or not, but it has sparked something in me that I want to be able to continue this in order to bring it into fruition. And I'm not going to be asking permission from anyone but the one that created us.
Allahu Akbar.
That's going to be my story, and I'm going to stick to it. And just so that you know, the
yes,
Omar that we are speaking of, Omar Muhammad,
Yes.
that is Imam Talib Sharif's nephew.
Oh, I know him. The one he
Oh, you
lives
know?
down.
Right.
He
Okay.
lives in, yeah, he lives in Texas, isn't that right?
No, South Carolina.
South Carolina, yes.
Yep. So, and he's the one that's conducting these financial freedom seminars, wrote an entire, what is it, 100 and some page workbook that he's teaching from for the next, I think it's going to be at least for the next 4 months. There's 5 sessions that extend over a period of time, and I'll send you the schedule so that you'll know when he's doing these presentations. And in fact, the other thing that I've wanted to do, and this will allow me to do it, he charges $75 for all 5 sessions. Is that right, Edward?
I want to say, and Sister Patricia, I think, has been a part of it. I think it's a 3 week,
Or it's 3 weeks?
15. I think
Okay.
it's 3 weeks. And every week builds on the last week.
Okay.
So, I mean, it is a very consistent education plan, financial education plan.
Right.
And you can
it's
then come back.
$75 for the period.
Yeah,
Not
for the entire
not
period.
each.
Yes.
Right. Okay. All right. So one of the things I've been wanting to do, and I'll certainly follow through with this with him, is I want to also sponsor someone or a couple of someones to go through the course. Because there are many of us that need it. I want to see, and it would be with people that I'd want to see committed, to doing this, because what he has to offer is invaluable to those of us that never really understood how money works, how you stay out of debt, and it's not just something for you to take the course and then go back to what you were doing. With this workbook, it gives you the opportunity to change your own behavior, so that with the ultimate goal being to put you in a posture where you are not living paycheck to paycheck. Where when the brakes do go out on your automobile, you've got the money to get them fixed, and it's not going to hurt you in any way, where you feel like whatever savings you had, you no longer have, you become discouraged and then don't put any money back into it anymore. So, I mean, the workbook that I've seen him put together is going to be invaluable for those who want this information. We got to remember that there are people in this world who have accepted the fact that they're always going to be in a stressful situation. And you coming to them, offering them the opportunity to remove that stress from them, they're skeptical. They don't believe you. It's not their time to get that. Maybe Allah intends for them to have to go through that before they're able to realize there's got to be something better. Yep. So
We have a hand raised.
Yeah, I
don't
see.
know the name, but it's an iPhone. Please go right ahead. iPhone with your hand raised. Go
there
ahead.
we
There
go.
you are.
Assalamu alaikum. Michael
Walaikum
Hamid.
salam.
I'm
Okay,
Alhamdulillah.
not at my best today, but alhamdulillah, this conversation has already stimulated me to push through. Yes, we are being blessed now with the help that we need from individuals like Brother Omar that have skill sets to and the one that Sister Fitra mentioned, and the what I was thinking of in terms of what I've heard thus far is that the Imam Muhammad, he gave us, like, he put little seeds out there in terms of right away, does your family have a budget? Don't go to the supermarket, you know, and purchase what you got a taste for. What does your budget say? What does your budget say you can buy? You know,
Yes.
you might have a taste for steak, but your budget may say tuna fish. and things
Yes.
like that. And the other one was
Yes, sir.
progressive. Okay, you're paying your rent or your mortgage every month. Well, what about thinking about paying it beyond that month? Adding to that rent where you can pay your rent for a year. The seeds that he was putting out there, but uh, the what do you call it? The resourceful men and women that the leadership is supposed to come from. They are now coming forward with strategic and step-by-step approaches in terms of how we should move, like the purchasing of property. I worked on the skating rink in Inkster, Michigan, with Imam and contractor Ibrahim. What is it? Pacha, Ezekiel Pacha, and he headed up a group that worked on the skating rink there in Inkster. Um, but we need planned, projecting the ideas that I just heard Sister Fitcher mention in terms of purchasing properties. Um, we need a a plan in terms of, like she was mentioning, New Jersey, and those people that have that strategic skill set, that we do it, in an intelligent fashion is something that I'm seeing. Brother Omar recommended Brother Edward to me in terms of getting financial advice uh, that I'm willing to pay for. you so alhamdulillah, I just wanted to share that and thank you all for all that you're doing.
Alhamdulillah.
I don't know how to raise my hand, but I want to raise my hand verbally because I don't know how to raise it on this iPhone.
Go right ahead.
But, I was talking to Pleeman, who is a very dear friend of mine, and Atlanta is progressive in many ways. It is one of those um, uh, examples of how when people work together, things can be accomplished. Um, but I was telling him about New Medina, and New Medina is such a well kept secret. Like when I went to New Medina for the first time, I was like, why isn't everybody talking about New Medina and as an example of what we can accomplish? And Pleman said something to me that makes plenty sense. He said there's so much land in the South that you can buy dirt cheap and build another New Medina. And when I worked for Jabbar Muhammad, he told me that if I ever learned, may he be in the highest place in paradise. He said, if I ever learned that this is a man's world, I would be more successful. And I could not agree with him more. I, you know, because
Oh,
because I hate dealing with men in business, or even when I have to have a repair in my house, I call a brother to be the intercessor between me and whoever that repairman is. Because men try to take advantage of women. And I'm just at 73, I'm just tired of it. But I'm saying to you two, three, whoever, Sister Patricia, as the business people in our community, no, Medina is if what Playman is saying, and we know that it is true, that there's plenty land in the South. Why don't we look at that? Why don't we look at some land in the South and buy it and build some housing on it, or a senior citizen, a 50 over plus, which is so popular right now. We have so many contractors and developers in our community. There's just no excuse for it. There is just no excuse that we cannot develop land that's available and cheap in the South.
It's like what you said, Sister Fitra, about we have to have these conversations. Excuse me. We have to have these conversations. And I was in a, I wasn't being talked to directly, but Brother Imam Pleeman mentioned two models. One a rural model, and the other urban model. You know, some people just don't want country life or anything near it. And it doesn't have to be that it's country life. We could, you know, these things can be done near metropolitan areas, because that's the kind of land that's available. Land is available all over here in the South.
But
Um,
Michael, I think people don't want deep South Mississippi. c- c- Uh, uh, but as far as North Carolina,
yeah.
I think there are those who, like me, I'm looking for some place to retire. There are more people like me right now in our community that's looking for places to retire. I know 5 people myself who are looking to find a place to retire.
Well, we have to talk it up until we can find those people that are ready for it. And I agree with you. It's got there's so much, what do you call it, the marketplace of ideas, you know, and there's so many distractions that we've been bombarded with, that we have to be aware of, what do you call it, promoting promoting these ideas in a way that people say, well, yeah, I can do that, you know, and I want that, and I'll stop right there.
hmm It is.
I think we have the platform for it. And I think we, Omar is as successful. And I'm saying this because he says it. He says this. Has told our board that he has been able to get more development projects because he built the Clara. And
Mm,
before he built the Clara, he was sitting in the position of people not really taking him serious.
right.
Correct. That's it.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to you, once we have one success, I'm a believer that we will have more successes.
Yes.
And
I
I
agree.
and I'm coming to this group because I think that the talent is in this group.
hmm hmm
So I'm just saying that to just say I might sound a bit frustrated. It's only because I know that we can do it. We've done it so many times before. And like Omar said, who says to our board all the time, every time he comes to our board meeting, he thanks our board for choosing him and not choosing the more qualified contractor, the more qualified developer. We chose him as our Muslim brother. We trusted him, and we just prayed every day that he could build the Clara. We just prayed, oh Allah, please give him the wherewithal to build the Clara. And right now, he is, every time he turns around, he's told me that he has somebody who's calling him simply because he built the Clara. It was
Yes.
nothing he did before the Clara.
Right.
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 Yeah.
And
And
I
that is, we say that, I think we've been saying that every week now for about 3 or 4 years. And nobody says it more than Imam Talib, and I would say maybe Imam Adam Bia, is that you have to create something that is tangible,
Yep.
that people can touch.
Yep.
And once you've done that, then it's like what is it they say, the gates of heaven open to you.
Yeah.
That is
I,
so very true, and it is never truer than in our community.
Mhm.
Well, it's
Never truer.
that old time thinking. I'd rather see a sermon than to hear one.
Yes.
I can show
well,
you better than I can tell you.
well, I'm going to tell you that there is a spirit in our community right now where I hear more people say, we did this in the Nation of Islam, and we're going 360 degrees. People are coming back to that spirit of do for self. I hear it all the time on Study Al Islam. I'm hearing it more and more on Study Al Islam. And I'm hearing more and more, we used to do this in the Nation of Islam. And you've got those people, the consciousness that's awakening that the only reason we haven't been successful is because we have diluted our talent. And we all want to have these interfaith relationships. And I'm not against interfaith relationships, but I am against it if it takes away from our infrastructure.
Right.
I am
Yeah.
against it.
Yeah.
Like
We
people
don't.
people say we made more progress when we were buying dashikas and than we did when we put those suits back on. So
Yeah.
I'm just I'm just frustrated that no, I'm not.
We
I'm hopeful and prayerful that we're going to get back to that do for self spirit.
we don't lead interfaith relationships,
Right.
and we should lead interfaith relationships.
Right.
We take a subordinate role when we're in interfaith relationships,
Exactly.
right? That's like me inviting my white Christian friends to my home for dinner, and he act like he gonna say the prayer.
Ah,
No, sit down,
yeah.
brother. Sit down, brother. I got this.
Yeah. And it shouldn't be kumbaya stuff.
No, it has to do with the leadership role that we should have as Muslims is based on Quran and Sunnah. And it's based on what's best for the world as a whole. And any opportunity that we have to funnel thinking and action toward al-Islam without even saying al-Islam, we have to take. Because quiet as it's kept, that particular type of inner strength is also noted as being something tangible that you can touch.
Yes.
And people will get behind and invest in that. Honorable Elijah Muhammad, when he first started, his lieutenants, whether that's Imam W.D. Muhammad, Malcolm X, Minister Louis Farrakhan, and there are plenty others that I can't name. These people, they weren't rich people. They weren't people that had a little bit of an army behind them, but it wasn't a huge army of people behind them. But they stood firm for something. And people gravitated toward them because you could not move them off what they believed in. And where they placed that particular belief, it was at the top of, let's say, the totem pole. It was not subordinate to anything. And you can have that attitude in a very kind, gentle, warming way and still get your point across. And you will gain the support of people that you don't even know who know you. And we have to recreate that, not only in our own community, but at the community at large. They're looking for that. My relatives say all the time, all these Christians that are part of my family, when are the Muslims going to do something?
Mhm. Yep.
It's rhetorical, but it has meaning. They know where leadership really comes from.
Yep.
So all of this matters. Putting up nice buildings, creating a credit union, taking your rightful leadership place in the community, as far as standing for something and being heard on those particular subjects, whether that's verbal or written. All of that matters. All of it coalesces into creating a better world. And that has to be our thinking, is creating a better world. It's like I hear people talk all the time about things that they see on social media. And I've said this before, Michael, you've heard me say this many times. I don't see those things because the algorithm that they use for me doesn't send that stuff my way. Because I'm never looking for anything like that. If it's not a value add, it doesn't exist in my world.
Mhm.
If it doesn't further educate me and elevate my knowledge in a particular area, it doesn't exist in my world. I don't want it near me. I don't want it near my mind. I don't deal with it.
Mhm.
And
And
that's a part of the profile of resourceful men and women.
yeah, we have resources, we have talent, we have energy. Now we need direction.
Right. We need
What are we going to do
new
with all that?
leadership. We
What
need
are we
some
going
new
to do?
leadership.
Well, sometimes sometimes what you think is leadership is waiting for you to lead.
Right. Yes. That
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's where I am now. You know,
Yeah, so
I've
let's
been
just let's do something.
I've been looking for it, but what I'm what
You,
I've
you,
come to
it's
realize is
it's you.
I'm
It's
it.
you. That's right.
I'm a brand new kind of fool, man. I've been running around looking for myself.
Yeah, don't look behind you. It's
Right.
you.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
and
sir.
I and I'll say this too, that in and of itself, if you're not properly grounded, that in and of itself will be a scary proposition.
Yeah.
When you find out that the one you've been looking for is you,
Mhm.
and now you have to take action,
Right.
right?
Yep. That's right.
Now
That's right.
talk about stepping out on faith.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
No excuse.
No excuse. Let's see if you're really about it.
Yep.
And like that young contractor in Detroit, you've got these foot draggers and showstoppers that are there to challenge our spirit. We just have to be aware that this is just part of the process.
It
Mhm.
is. My older son, one of his Father's Day gifts to me was a book a small book. It's not a big book, not a lot of pages. I've fallen in love with this book. The title of the book is The Obstacle is the Way.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
challenges that we face and our pathway through those challenges is the way to making ourselves better. Especially if you handle those challenges with virtue.
Mhm.
It is
Man,
a great little book. And you know, he's a thoughtful young man, and he always on Father's Day he always gives me a book. Typically, it's about fatherhood or about leadership, personal responsibility, and things like that. Same kind of things you try to teach him as he's grown up. You know, he's shining the mirror back. You know, the mirror back on good old dad, but really thoughtful, and it's reminders of you say things, but you have to do things.
Yep. Lord, well, I'm going to start to do that by excusing myself from this call because Zoa came
Yeah.
in about
All of
maybe
you
5 minutes
East,
ago.
all you East Coast people are late.
Right. But here's what I want to say to us. I'm going to make this salat. I'm going to go downstairs and find my wife and tell her as often as I've told her before, you are right. Let's get to work on this book she has wanted me to write for decades, talking about and what has sort of triggered this is the title of the book that you just read to us. The obstacle is the way. Because she pointed out to me all the obstacles that I've faced since high school that I was able to overcome in each part that has, and each one of them led to another hurdle that I had to cross, but it culminated into a series of experiences that she feels other people need to hear. Simultaneous to that, I want to look at putting this into practice because I have hit another obstacle in trying to convince my communities, those that I'm more closely associated with, that I know what I'm doing because Allah has blessed me to do it. And by me being here, by me being in front of you all, it also says that God is not done with me yet. So as reluctant as I have been to assume this sort of leadership role for this unfounded, it's not even a fear, but this unfounded narrative that if I was to assume this role, somehow I'm being boastful and arrogant and egotistical. But I don't have to present myself that way. Now there's going to be some that are always going to look at me this way. I don't care what I do. I could literally save their life. And the next day, they'll be talking about me like they were the day before. I'm not concerned about that. What I am concerned about is that the formula that I know Allah has blessed me with for the success that I feel that I have, that I believe that I have, I don't just feel it, I can point it out to you. it's tangible. You can touch it, you can see it. That I need to get back to that person, to not be satisfied where I am, but realize that there's still growth and development left in me, but this time I want to bring others along. This ain't just about me. This is about a group of us. And so, I thank you all, those who have been on these calls now and in the past. There are others who did not make it today. I would thank them as well. But with your permission, I'm going to absent myself so that I can go thank my Lord and Creator for this inspirational time I've spent with you all, and to start to immediately start putting this stuff into action. And the only thing that I pray for now is that when I open my front door, it's going to be so hot outside that I'm going to just put off mowing my lawn until another day. I truly want to start laying out some sort of proposal or plan as to how we're going to accomplish these goals that we have set out for. I will leave you as I greeted you with Assalamu alaikum. And, yes, sir. And I'll leave you all to continue this discussion, but I got to put this stuff into action. Alhamdulillahi Rabbi Alameen.
Assalamu alaikum, my brother.
Wa alaikum salam. Alhamdulillah.
Well, I think we've done 2.5 hours. We've come to about the end. I mean, some of us in the central time zone, we will not be late for our Zoom today. So I'm going to ask Imam Tariq to close us out, and I'm going to wish you guys whatever's left of the holiday for you. I wish you the best and a great week to come, and look forward to everybody's voice and face on next Sunday. Imam Tariq, will you close us out, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Allah bestow good upon us in this life and bestow good upon us in the life to come and save us from the torment of the fire. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa
Alaikum
alaikum
assalam.
salam, everyone. Go have a wonderful day.
Do the same.
All right, my brother.